Do you believe communication shapes our thoughts, self concept, and ultimately the community we live in? This is the basis of the work of Herbert Mead, an early constructionist, who used this information to shape his theory called symbolic interactionism. Mead's greatest contribution to understanding the way we think was his notion we have the capacity to take the role of the other. He believed the self is an ongoing process that combines the I and the me. The I is spontaneous, is force-driven, unpredictable, and ultimately unorganized. Therefore, it can be compared to the creative right brain. Me is viewed as an objective self, or as an objective image of self that is seen in the looking glass as other people's reactions. Me stands outside ourselves and views as an object. Mead described this with the phrase, "If I speaks, me hears." There is no me at birth. It grows from the community and is the organized society within ourselves. So you can never know I, because once it is known, it becomes me. Levinas, another theorist, agreed with Mead. He says that the self is socially constructed. Self is how we look to others by taking the role of the other. This is how we imagine we look to another. To honor Mead's belief that the most human activity people can engage in is talking to each other, students gathered his class notes and conversations with Mead and published the book Mind, Self, and Society in his name. His follower Herbert Blumer coined his term symbolic interactionism, which refers to the language and gestures a person uses in anticipation with how others will respond. Is the verbal and nonverbal response to listeners, or the listener's craft, an expectation of how the original speaker will react to the feedback provided? In other words, self-explanatory, it's just having a conversation. Blumer added the three core principles that dealt with meaning, language, and thinking. His premise was that humans act towards people or other things based on meaning they assigned them. For example, if you enjoy eating outside and suddenly see a picnic table while you're at lunch, you decide to sit down and eat. A passerby tells you to be careful of pigeons. You do not understand, so you continue to eat there. Within 5 minutes, you're surrounded by pigeons who will not leave you alone and not let you eat in peace. This changes your idea about eating outside at that park, at that picnic table. The next time you see a table in a park, do you sit down and eat? Maybe or maybe not. Ultimately, it depends. Blumer felt meaning comes through the social interaction with each other and does not pre-exist in this state of nature. It is negotiated using language and symbolic interaction. Meaning, as humans, we can name things like a person, an object, an action, or even an idea. But without symbolic interactionism, the word puppy, for instance, means nothing. It is ultimately just a word. You do not understand the word or the meaning until someone showed you how cute, how small, how adorable, how fluffy a puppy can be. This symbolic naming is the basis for human society. There are 6 separate applications of symbolic interactionism. The first one is creating reality. It is best understood as what Shakespeare said: all the world is nothing but a stage, and we are merely just players. The next principle, meaningful research, focuses on participants, observations, and researchers all sharing information. We then move to the next concept, which is generalized others. This addresses how a life of societal or of social isolation within years of verbal and nonverbal put-downs can lead to situations like the Sandy Hook massacre. The next one moves to naming, which thwarts the age-old saying, sticks and stones can break my bones, but names will never hurt me. Because I'm sorry, but names really do ultimately hurt you. We then move to self-fulfilling prophecy, or other words known as the looking glass theory. This focuses on looking at the reaction of others to confirm the anticipated outcome. And then finally, we look at symbol manipulation, which is when someone manipulates the symbol to attempt to change the meaning. The largest critiques of Mead's theories is that he does not have testable explanations or of observed social regulations. In other words, no studies or proof the theory is valid. Sheldon Strider said, if we treat social interactionalism as an objective theory that must meet scientific standards of prediction and testability, it is honestly, at the end of the day, a really poor theory. Mead offered new understanding of people by showing how humans socially construct their concept of self, as well as the way society influences it. But he does not dictate a construction project which could have assisted in making the point. To round out the theory, others added a fourth interpretive requirement to make it a good theory. They added the emergence of a community agreement. This theory does not call for reform of society. It says little about power, domination, or emotion. The theory has fluid boundaries, vague concepts, and is an undisciplined approach that does not lead to an elegant summary. Many believe the theory is ultimately an overstatement. Mead's theory may have some flaws. However, he was a philosopher who saw communication as the most humanistic thing people can do, and has been called America's greatest sociological thinker. So, in the end, his works hold water. Thank you.